I'm currently the happiest I've ever been in my life, and here's how I got here. For 2022, I made a single resolution, and that was to put my mental health above everything. And I view that as the start of my happiness journey. It sounds easy because we've heard it so many times. You gotta put yourself first, you gotta put your mental health first. But it was just one of those things where I knew that it was important. I said that health was important, but my actions didn't align with my words. In 2021 and years before that, I was always so worried about achievements and goals and work and money, way more than I would be concerned about, my health and my happiness. Thanks to this resolution, I started to question the way I live and look at my life. I started having honest conversations with myself, and I started to completely rearrange my priorities. Ultimately, this resolution allowed me to see myself for who I am and believe in what I can yet become. Someday or one day has no end date. It can be 5 years from now, it can be 20 years from now, or sadly, someday can never come. But today means today. It means now. This year, around April or May, it finally hit me that I am 25 years old and that the perfect day won't come. I will create the perfect day. I have the power to create the perfect day. I made the decision to quit my full-time, daytime job and pursue my passion full-time, which is create my own content and do YouTube. But since I've been on this journey for about 3 months, I've gotten the following questions a couple of times, which are, but aren't you worried it's not gonna work out? What will you do once you run out of money? And my favorite one, so when are you planning to look for an actual job? And here's the thing, I have never in my life been more calm and sure of the path that I am on. And I understand that these type of questions in general come from people's own worries and anxieties about life, and it has nothing to do with me. And if it does have something to do with me, let's say some people are actually worried, it's still coming from their own perception of life. So a big part of my current happiness is that I'm finally doing this with all my heart. I started YouTube about 2 years ago, and I always played it safe. I was like, well, I also have my job and YouTube. I played it safe all my life. I still achieve things. I still, the person that I am today is the person that I have always been, meaning I'm determined and I want to follow my dreams, and I've been this way since I was very young. But because I had all the little, you have some childhood traumas or things you need to work on, I never went full on in my specific dream. And I think the fact that I took that step and that I'm doing this with all my heart, this is literally my job, the fact that I can say these words, and it doesn't matter that this doesn't pay yet. The key words is yet. This will pay someday. And that's all that really I need at this moment. I am accepting my journey with all its strengths, all its flaws, in all its beauty. I want to read you a quote that I found that I absolutely love. The slow philosophy can be summed up in a single word: balance. Be fast when it makes sense to be fast, and be slow when slowness is called for. Seek to live at what musicians call the tempo gusto, the right speed. I think this quote sums up perfectly what slow living means. I used to have this misconception that slow living is kind of like you're doing nothing and you're lazy and you're enjoying life, but it can be both. And I think this quote shows that it is both. It's that balance that we all kind of seek. You are fast when you need to be fast, but you know when you need to be slow and you enjoy being slow. I've started to question my need to rush sometime. Am I compensating for something? Am I avoiding something? This is actually something that my physical therapist, I hope that's how you call them in English, asked me about a year and a half ago. I was in a bad place at that time. I was overworked and I had different physical problems. I was sitting at my desk all day and I remember she said, "What are you chasing?" At first, it was kind of like, what are you saying? Like, what's bad with like climbing the ladder and trying to be the best and achieve everything? Obviously, I didn't say that to her, but my brain was like, why are you like attacking me? It wasn't an attack, but that's how I said it. At first, you're like very protective of your own space and how can you even say this to me? But then I started to actually think about what she said. She was right in a sense. I think people who always chase, I'm not talking about a healthy amount of need or want to climb, to be better, to compete. You know, I have that. But if you're always chasing, if you're never taking a break, there is something in you need to work on. That was the first question that obviously opened up more and more questions, but I now see what she was saying. I am still the same hardworking, determined, motivated Ylva, but I think a lot of my drive used to come from fear sometimes or self-consciousness, whereas now my drive comes from my passion, my spark. And isn't that like a way better way to live? In the best case scenario, I used to work about 85–90% of the time and rest 10 to 15% of the time. And this includes Sundays, Saturdays as well. I would always find tasks to do. Now, I work about 60% of the time and I rest about 40% of the time. And the crazy thing is, productivity-wise, it's almost the same. If not, I'm also sometimes more productive than I used to be when I work that much. It's crazy, like work-wise, the same results, sometimes even more results, but I work less because I'm more effective. Obviously, this changes from week to week. That's normal. There are times where I work more, work less, but I'm saying like average. I use my time to do so many hobbies. I draw, I sing, I cook. I have really been into kitchen stuff lately. I dance, I make fun TikToks, I watch TV shows that I love. I spend time with my friends, with my family. I learn Korean. I don't know if I mentioned it that much, but I have been learning Korean for the last 9 months. I have a teacher, I'm very passionate about that, and I hope to speak at some fluent level in a couple of years. I have found more happiness since I've become slower, since I've stopped and taken like a good look at my life. Like sometimes I can sit on my couch with Gus, we can watch a movie or eat something tasty, and I feel like it's the best thing in my life. Like the simple things. It fascinates me that it really is what they say, that sometimes the true happiness comes from the simplest things. It's gratitude. I express gratitude every single day, multiple times a day. My second video on this channel was actually about gratitude. That was about 2 years ago. While I understood the concept, and I remember myself at that time, I worked really hard at like creating that as a habit, like the gratitude thing. I mentioned writing in my gratitude journal and all of that. I was at the beginning of it, and I would say that only now, like a couple of years later, I've gone to a place where that really is a part of my life, where gratitude really is a part of my life. I think the biggest kind of mistake I made back then, I think why it didn't work as effectively as it works now, I would write in my gratitude journal, like I would be grateful at that at those 5 minutes in the morning, and then I would spend the rest of the day sometimes complaining in my mind. Now, I turn every single situation into a positive. Well, okay, I'm still a human. There will be situations where I'm sad or negative, but mostly I turn every single situation into a positive. If I'm ever like, oh, it sucks that something isn't right, or I don't like something in my apartment. That's a big thing. I want to renovate my whole apartment, but I don't yet have like the full finances, so everything's going very slowly. But I always say, well, I'm lucky to even have an apartment. I'm lucky to have an amazing space that I love. And I love the energy of my apartment, by the way. I love how it makes me feel. If I'm ever like, oh, it sucks that I can't do something health-wise, like I'm still recovering from some stuff that I had, I always replace it with, I am so happy that I am this healthy. I'm happy that I have my hands and my arms and everything. I'm happy that I get to do what I do. I'm happy that I have such amazing friends, such amazing family. I always turn everything into a positive. I live in a constant state of gratefulness. I'm grateful for every single thing that I have. And the more grateful that I am, the more happy I feel, because when you are grateful, there is literally no place to be sad, because it's just not humanly possible in your brain to be sad while you're grateful. It just doesn't connect. You can be sad afterwards, you can be sad before. But if you are grateful, there is no place to be sad, because gratefulness is the opposite of being sad. So while you're grateful, you feel good, you feel happy. And that's the mindset that I constantly cultivate in my life. I view happiness as a tasty dish, a stew if you'd like. It's not made of one thing. A good tasty stew has different sorts of veggies, legumes, spices. Each individually, these ingredients are fine, but it's when you put them all together when the true magic happens. It's the same with happiness. It's formed when you find the right tools, the right practices, and apply them all to your life. At this stage in my life, happiness to me is being on my path that I'm supposed to be on, doing what I love, enjoying my life to the fullest, living my life to the fullest, and being thankful every single day for everything that I have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what makes you happy, what brings happiness to your heart, to your soul. And I'm wishing you the best, most beautiful day. And as usual, I will see you next time. Bye.